My name is Dontez Lindsay. I am the general manager of Dux Trading LLC, as well as the lead trainer of StockCraft. I'm not a financial advisor, nor a CPA, and the content I create is for entertainment and educational purposes only. I trade in my account, and everything I do is hypothetical in nature because it doesn't happen in your account. My experience with trading is not typical, nor does it guarantee that similar results will be obtained by you. I am merely sharing my opinion with no guarantee of gains or losses in investments. Remember, day trading can be extremely risky. You should be prepared to lose all the funds that you use for day trading. In particular, you should not fund day trading activities with retirement savings, student loans, second mortgages, emergency funds, funds set aside for purposes such as education or home ownership, or funds required to meet your living expenses. Further, certain evidence indicates that investments less than $50,000 will significantly impair the ability of a day trader to make a profit. Of course, an investment of $50,000 or more will no way guarantee a success. With that out of the way, let's get into the content. Good morning, guys. Oh, why is the screen still black? All right, so I'm trying to pull up BIOR. Oh, there we go. It didn't come up for the past like 10 minutes. But yeah, BIOR. There we go. My gain turned down on my mic. I couldn't hear myself. Still a little weird. Okay, now it's my headphone. All right. So with BIOR, BWE, BWEN, they are the two things I'm watching today. So BIOR had a pre-FDA approval. This is the one that we wrote off yesterday, and we ended up going long on the larger cap biotech with news, and it did exactly what a larger cap normally does. Pushed very small and then bled rest of the day. So it wasn't as powerful as we thought. The early shorts won that, even with super cheap borrows. What little squeezes did happen didn't keep going, but with BIOR, this one had pre-Fed or pre-FDA news, and the whole idea of it having feedback from the FDA for like a pre-approval, it reminds me of when we first went to war with not we, but like when Ukraine and Russia just first went to war, and a lot of people were saying, buy the news, sell the rumor, or is it sell the rumor, buy the news, like that kind of stuff. So I feel like when the actual FDA approves this company, it's actually just going to tank, because right now it's more of like a rumor. But when it actually gets approved, it should be fair game for a short. But the main reason like this is going up is it did a reverse split, so it's a fresh chart. That on top of the pre-approval for the news, like putting those two together, that's what makes this like really parabolic like. So the reverse split happened on the 30th. The pre-approval news happened yesterday. Well, I didn't see that reverse split news until today. Yeah. So other than that, BWEN, this is at the top of the This was on the top change in percentage list just a few moments ago before LIPO popped up. Now I'm gonna have to check LIPO, but BWEN, this one, this is industrial. And they just got a new contract, an exclusive contract. That's 175 million. And that's really good for market cap that's under 50. I wonder actually how that's going to work. Okay, it says they received 175 million in new tower orders. Okay, I don't know how long. How much impact that has? Like, is that over the year or is that all in one? Yeah, but the main thing is it's strong news, and so we can easily see this go to something like 140. Good morning. So in terms of a move, this BIOR is a fresh chart, and I mostly just want the FDA news to come out, because if there's a reverse split, that doesn't automatically make it like tradable. But the extension on this is insane. It went from 2 to 9. Last time we saw something like that happen, it was NVIV, I think. NVIV. Yeah, but last time NVIV went that high, it came all the way back down to like 4 or 2. It was a really steep curve. Now let's check out the LIPO, because there's 3 things that may be worth looking at. But in terms of what's the best trade right now, there is very little risk management on BIOR because it's a fresh chart. And since it slow grinded all yesterday, it easily can start a whole nother trend for, grinding the next few days. It's just this first day was extremely powerful. Okay, this one just released really good drug. So that's why it's at the top right now. It's also a little more expensive than BWEN, so that makes it just a little more top heavy. So I'd say, let me pull it up on the chart, because that might be, so BWEN and LIPO might be gap up shorts. Like BWEN, if it was by itself, I'd say over 100%, just like barely over 100%. That would be a good area to short if it does stay within like the 60 to 80% range before the open. Then we wait for a 20-30% push. LIPO might be in the same boat. especially with all these little resistance and this history of having overhead price action. I wouldn't really want to call it resistance because most of these are not above 500,000, and then the ones that are, it's only like 1 or 2 or 3, and the rest of them are kind of canceled. So, but I still think that people are using those canceled resistances for a little bit of risk management. Let's check out LIPO. As this one, it kind of looks like a IPO. I'm not too sure. Yeah, it looks like a IPO, like a recent one, started in the middle of December, if not the beginning. Now, with that, recent IPOs within like the first 2 months, you can get a specific type of bounce short if it pops up. And now that bounce short only pulls like 30% max. I don't know if today is going to be that kind of bounce short, because this chart where it goes from like 8 down to 4, the type of short I'm talking about, it requires it to like lose almost 80% of its gains like right away. And this does look massively beaten down because like that's the name of the pattern. But I don't know if this one actually qualifies. I'll give you an example. I think it's still not loading. Yeah, so with this AMV, this was an IPO. When this opened at like 200 something and then came all the way down, like that lost a lot, like a lot. Very obvious that there needed to be some type of correction. And this day right here, that was the bounce short. And what happened is you see how far it dipped down the next day. Then you fast forward a few days and it's kind of like a consolidation, but not really. It's like super wide. Then you got that double top. That's what I'm thinking right now. But in this case, it's super obvious because it's like $200. If it was $100, it'd be also super obvious. Like another example would be SATX. You added on BWEN, also accelerated volume, added for momentum. Okay. Okay, this one taking a while to load. Turn it to the daily chart. Yeah, so this is another example. Like going from 80 all the way down to like 15. And then you have a few pop up, and the main thing is it's recently IPO'd within like 2 months, and that makes it something worth looking at. Yeah, so like when you look at this go from 50 all the way down to 6, that one is another like very obvious. There needs to be some type of correction. So, oh, not how long this is going to take. It's only doing that because I'm way too far behind when I look at the filter. Now, I know it does take like less than 5 minutes, but I don't want to wait that long. Yeah, but the main thing is change this one to LIPO. These two may be gap up shorts. This one pretty much already went up 100% in the pre-market. And it's pulling back now. It looks like it didn't go all the way to 50%. There's a high chance that this is going to come back up. Now, someone said they added a BWEN to the momentum. So the thing with BIOR, BWEN, and LIBO, they're all going to be competitive volume. That in terms of BBBY as well, because I think BBBY had a lot of volume yesterday. So they're all going to be competing for the volume in the retail. And what happens with that is we had 100 million on BBBY yesterday. Since they're all going to be competing for the same money, each one of them are going to drop earlier than you would think. So if I was thinking earlier that BWEN was going to go to about like 114 or like 140, this actually might drop at like 80%, just because there's something that's going to steal the attention and volume of everybody else. So LIPO, this one already having a pullback to 50%. Normally you'd call this dead and untradeable because it pulled back 50%. But if this does come back up, it probably won't even reach the pre-market high anymore. Also got to look at borrows, because I'm only going to choose one of these to try to play, and I'm still trying to figure out which one is the best. Because BIOR, this one, since it's a reverse split and it has that pre-approval thing, the best time I want to trade this is when the actual approval comes out. For BWEN, this one, in its previous history, it's really wide. Like there's no solid place to risk off of, but you can consider these long swings a consistent resistance. And I think that's enough to like just short around like 70, 80 in general. And if it does get to like close to 100, like barely at 100, I think that's also a good short because it has that competitive volume. Like it won't be able to hold its gains that it has right now, and it's really close to its pre-market high. But in reality, it's still only 60%. I'd rather wait for that anything from like 10% to 30% push in the at the open. Because if we're just looking at the floats on these, LIPO is a micro float. BWEN, it's not a micro float. So this one I feel like is going to drop around that 80, 90% as it has a slightly higher market cap than LIPO and lower float. Like the only reason LIPO is, still at the top of the percent change gainer right here is probably just because people think it can run further because it has a lower float and lower market cap and has the ability to flip easier. But everybody's also addicted to BBY. So if there's, what is it? I don't want to start saying old numbers because it's probably changed. But if there's a fixed amount of money in here, they're all going to be competing throughout the day. But we'll see in the first 15 minutes who is going to be the top three. And I don't think BIOR is going to last that long, but it doesn't have an edge to where it's worth shorting right now. The main thing is, since this slow grinded all yesterday, that gives it a specific nature now. Like you can't trust it until it forms like a consolidation and like a dollar block kind of stuff, and you can specifically risk off something. And right now, it's way too far from its pre-market high and its aftermarket high to be able to like call that type of stuff. If anything, if I had to choose which one to buy out of all these, instead of trying to test my luck with the lowest microflow over here, I'd actually be buying BIOR just because it has that grinding action, meaning a lot of people were probably trying to guess the top on this and they were failing, and it just kept squeezing and grinding all day. Not calling this like a pump or anything, but usually these kind of moves, they go for more like a longer time. Now if this 2 to 9 happened like very fast, that's where I'd pull up the older chart I was talking about before, which I'm still not convinced that it was NVIV. There we go. So parabolic thing. There we go. It was NVIA or NVTA. NVTA. Wow. That's funny. No wonder I couldn't find it last time. I titled it wrong. NVTA. Yeah, so this was I called it a bounce after a death candle resistance. Oh, okay. I think it was this day that I was trying to do something with it. Because when I think of a death candle, it has to be this big panic at the open, which can be a future area to short off of, but just a small. You know how you can always use a closed, open, and really heavily traded areas. But yeah, with this stock, it did 2 to 9, and you see how it just faded, and then at the open it just dumped. With this ticker, let's compare it to BIOR, because there is, I almost forgot the ticker name again. They're both in the healthcare sector, but this one was New York Stock Exchange, which is seeing those kind of moves is kind of normal in New York Stock Exchange. A little different price action, but this has a higher market cap and a higher float. That's now. I don't think it had that back when this traded that kind of price action. Okay. Here's 4 mysterious charts that I don't know what's gonna pop up. Oh, yep, the same one. But I want to see the market cap and float on. So it took like 60 million on that day. No, this is the next day. No. Oh yeah, this is probably a slow progression of me watching it. Yeah, exactly what that is. Yeah, but it's traded another 100 million the next. How much did we get for the day? Yeah, 6 million. I think I need to restart this. I can't even see the volume for the top 2. Yo, DD, you see that BIOR dilution 750 in 8? Not enough. Needs more range though. Yeah. I was telling everybody that after that slow grind, I think this is going to run a few more green days. And if not, it has to get extended enough to have some kind of edge. Because like going up to 9, like from here, that's way too much. Like there's nothing you can really risk off of. And it's a good thing you brought up dilution because it had that recent reverse split on the 30th. I think it was the 30th. And that's the time where you're supposed to look for those dilutions, like warrant. Now, Bed Bath and Beyond, that's beyond me because I don't know what's going to happen on that. This is, I saw Steven, he was making a watch list saying that BBY is going to do something. Yeah, I don't know about all that. I don't even know where I would start to trade that. Comfortable, at least, because when it comes to those kind of moves, I'll treat it pretty much similar how I treat other hype plays in SPY. I'd just be looking at what were the important levels last time, and the heaviest days, and just specific level. With this, I wasn't in it last time, so I can't feel what everybody else felt. So the only thing I would be going for is into pushes into a previous top and important levels. Like if I had to short this one, I wouldn't even touch it till like about 3:30, and that's without even like looking at it like seriously. But what am I doing? Yeah, it's only up like 30%. Yeah, but that's the 50% that I'd be minimum looking at. But what am I doing? Yeah, so BIOR needs more range, needs more volume. We want that to form some kind of multi-day runner like chart. Then we can start trading with inside of the range that it keeps. Now, if it breaks this range completely, that's also fine. But we don't know if that's going to do a double after it does a clean break, or if it does a fake out. At least we know the range is somewhere between like 6 and, let's say it does a half fake out up to like anywhere between like 14 to like 16. Then we can go from there. Because it all depends on how much volume is trapped. Because a lot of people probably overshorted this in the pre-market. They got squeezed in the previous time in the after hours. I'm just happy it's not a micro float this time. I still don't know if this is actually like pre-news.
plans for a PGN 600 program. IND supplement type C filing, requesting agency feedback. Okay. So like they're talking with them and then they got a comment, and that's why it just sounds like a rumor to me. But it doesn't sound like an approval. And the main thing is when the approval comes out, most people look at the approval as the catalyst to buy, like temporarily. But I feel like in this case, it's actually going to have the opposite effect. But I'll still wait for a push when it does come out. It's just I have to keep checking that. Now the other two, yeah, still I'm thinking like gap up short kind of move. BWEN definitely, just because it's crazy history. Now this did go up to 4 in the pre-market, which is way past its history, or at least in the 1 year. Now that pre-market test does tell us something. It's saying that I can go up to 415 if I want to. But when it did that, it also told us that it just had to gap through something. So if I do first put that on there, 420. One more cent. Tragic. Okay, so I actually don't even have to do the math for this. 3 times 1.6. Off. $2.8 and 1.6. Closer. What did this? 2.2. I'm trying to figure out what level is it gapping through where it has that kind of strength, or is it just normal exhaustion from 226? So up 85%. I think that's definitely a good area, especially with this competitive volume. Like a great area to short. So just risking the high, like that 420. Now I'd still watch how much volume's coming into LIPO, BBVY, and BIOR. If you are trying to do a gap up short into the push on BWEN, I'd rather take that than the other ones because BIOR has the slow grind from the previous day, needs more range, needs to form something. LIPO, micro float, so it does what it wants. BBVY, I know meme stocks are dead, but that's still forever a meme stock. It also does what it wants. BWEN seems like the best play for me today if I did want to trade a gap up, which I'd be abandoning the BIOR. BC, not up enough. You can quantify play by float and market cap. Did you already try? That question is too vague for me. I understand a little bit of what you're trying to say, but with that, I know Steven does a lot of that where he knows how much money it takes to flip the stock. Then he compares it to how cheap or expensive the price is. And then if you track that in mass data, you can, come to some conclusions, especially if you start comparing it to the institutional ownership and stuff too, as well as a few other things. But I don't know if that applies in this scenario since they're all different. And the situation right now seems money is scarce. So there has to be more selection. And I just want to know which one is everyone going to eventually go to. Like in the first 30 minutes, everyone's probably going to try to, put two hands or two eggs in like each basket. But after the first 30 minutes, somebody's going to get eliminated. I just want to know who it's going to be. My thought is it's going to be BBBY first, but I don't even know what the catalyst is for BBBY. Other than, it's going it's going to bankruptcy for like the 20th time. Because that's been the running theme for a very long time. They're like, oh no, we're going bankrupt. Somebody give us money. Oh, this person just helped us out. But I didn't even have to read it today. And I already got it. On the brink of extinction, Bed Bath & Beyond. Party City sees wild stock move. They've been saying that for years now. Oh, also, I'm on like an hour worth of sleep. I was talking with family members all last night. Long story short, I'm going to fly back to Ohio over the weekend. I'll be back Monday though. So won't be any different for you guys. And Steven's also exhausted from backpacking across China. Wonder how he's doing. Yeah, I looked at the Twitter last night. I was like, hey bro, you spelled the ticker wrong. He's like, man, I can't even see straight. Hopefully we get a clean gap up on LIPO. Yeah, that'd be good. If I'm playing, if everybody else is playing checkers, I'll try to play chess. With this LIPO, if it does like squeeze a lot of shorts, like 2-3 times, I'll look at it. Because none of these have crowded volume right now. They're all right at the minimum, not minimum. It's decent volume, but I don't want to say that. It's well above my area that I consider light volume for the pre-market. So they're all kind of equal, but BIOR, it has just a tiny bit more. But the thing is, it's only up 20%. So I think that one won't move until the later half of the first hour. But LIPO, this is the one that I think is just going to fire up to like 8. And then it's going to pull back, do something, is going to halt. People are going to get like scared. And then it's going to go to BWN. And then BIOR is just going to pull back right at the open. And then BWN, I think this one might make a move right at the beginning to its pre-market high. And then like, I can't tell if it's going to go a little bit like right over it. Like it's barely, like probably like 440, no, 460, and then come right down. But I already have like a whole plan in my head. But soon as I borrow, that's where things are going to get a little confusing. See, BWEN, it has those really cheap borrows right now. And the last 3 tickers that I've seen with these kind of borrows, the early shorts won. So in terms of where we are in the market cycle, we just finished one last week. Like Friday was the last day of the last cycle, or at least that's what me and Steven were talking about. So with the beginning of a new cycle, we're supposed to see a lot of gap up shorts without resistance above it. And that's going to make a lot of people really impatient to go in on shorts. And it's going to train the investors to do something. But when things like slightly change, people are going to start trading in the pre-market because they're going to get really impatient. But we're still not at that point yet. So I don't want to join the early shorts though, because it's going to make me get a bad habit. And that's where this goes. But main thing is I'm just going to wait the first 5 minutes, see how this develops. It looks like I can pretty much borrow any time on a BWEN. I think I want to borrow it now just in case, because it's not going to get any cheaper than this. Like, so it's not going to break my bank account either. I just want to finish everything in one move. What am I doing? Doing something. Oh, it's borrowed. Trying to figure out. Man, I'm still mad. I lost on that long yesterday. It was reasonable though. Like, ow. But I'm not trying to get used to taking like 10% and running. I want to get my 20% or nothing. I'm okay with the 6% loss. I think I took 2 minutes till the open. Yeah, 6%. Hopefully we get a clean gap up. Is the resistance on BWEN reliable at all in your opinion? So I think it is. I think somebody saw something in all this mess. And overall, somebody's going to use risk management on like the weekly or something. And you can call this a gap up short. Something's going to pull this down. I don't know what. Like there is no minimum like 4 million candle that I normally would be looking for. And even if there was, it would have been canceled by these other spikes. But you have to do something with like all this. Like it didn't what do you call that? Its volume, it's not there, but the price action is definitely there. I feel like someone's going to use it. The only thing we can really do is use the pre-market high for now. I just know I'd rather take that like comparing it to this micro float that are just went out for me. This is only going to be tradable for when this trades enough volume. I'd rather go on I consider this like a 2, maybe closer to a 3-star gap up short because it's competitive volume right now. I'm only looking at these at a value of what can give me a comfortable 15%, and BWEN just looks like the most reliable for me right now. Like just going into a 20% push, that's possible. Like we're at 60 right now. You do the 20% push, you're at 84%. You're matching the pre-market high. It's like a textbook kind of gap up short. The only downside is the consistent resistance isn't like it's heavy and it's clean as we would like. It's more of all over the place with like tiny bits of like a million. But the same exhaustion that you see normally, it's there. Especially with LIPO having pulled back already 50%, killing its own volume. It's gonna get like really choppy. Like even though it's a higher micro float, I still put BWE in the driver's seat. The worst thing I had to worry about with this one is it has consolidations in the pre-market, so I'd have to wait for those to break throughout the day. Yeah, but just looking at the volume right now, with just the price, like just looking at the price, LIPO when this gets to about 40 million, that's where I see some type of exhaustion. With BWEN, it's probably closer to like 25. With BIOR, yeah, I think that's just going to like bleed for a bit before it starts grinding like the whole day. So I'm about to short a little here. Everything lagging. Really? I'm putting in half now. I did just go into weakness. I couldn't tell if that was the major rejection. Or not, what do you call that? The drop. But it did do a heavy test. I only put in half for right now. See how all of them are going down. The SPY is going up. What the heck? But yeah, there's nothing else popping up on the chart. Yeah, but they're all still in each other's volume. So I'm waiting for which one is going to drop off. Looks like BWEN is taking all the volume now because it's definitely separating from LIPO. But I still think that BWEN might go up to about like 4. I said 460 or something earlier. There's definitely going to be some early shorts that are shorting right where I am. I feel like, 15, 20 minutes from now, this is going to do a slight squeeze. If it doesn't drop like right now to about like 360. So. Okay, I was like, man, I can't read that message. Short, low, cover, lower never works for me. Gotta short into the bigger spike. Makes sense. What do you call it? Yeah, I always look for that squeeze myself. I just want to get used to, like, I should have went in a little smaller. Like, I was gonna go in a fourth, like a 400, but part of me also wants to just go in one entry just so I'm more decisive. So at the end of the day, I just cut it in half because I still think this is gonna go above 4, but not that much. Like, all these rejections are good. Like, it's getting a lot of volume pretty fast. Like, it's almost double of what it started with. And like this push to 70, that's okay, see, now I kind of like it, but not yet. I want it to go like below like 65. That little test to 70, it's that's just a tease. I still think it's coming back up. Like up to 4 plus, kind of coming back up. Like, this just looks like early shorts getting trapped to me. Now on BIOR, this one might find some bottom at like 550, consolidate a bit, then continue its grind like the whole day. LIPO, that it's getting volume, but it's a lot slower than BWEN, mostly because it's probably a cheaper stock. But I thought a lot of people would flock to that because it was a micro float. But they're probably tired of these micro floats too, because I know there were 2 tickers in the recent month, like in the past month, where the float was like 500,000 or something super low that nobody wanted to touch it. Okay, now that it's pulling back into the mid 60s. Yeah, highest is 365. I wanted to break that 365, but at least it touched it, which is good. The next strength, like up to the 80s. Now I'm gonna just let this ride for now, because it's still not giving me what I want. I'll keep my half, and I want to add it to strength later, but I don't think the time is now. I didn't even borrow my full amount. Only had 3K in there. And I have another 3K borrowed, and it's still 1 cent. And like right now, this actually looks like one of those it's gonna squeeze you kind of play. Not just because it has short, what do you call that? Really cheap borrows. But it is trapping a decent amount of people. Like this first candle, it's almost 4 million. It's actually, what? That's kind of troll. Both of these candles are the exact same amount of volume. I don't believe it. Yeah, but I'm waiting till this bounces back up because I think it will. I always cover at the 50% level just in case. The 50% rule is a real thing. Yeah, I agree with you. It is a real thing. I've been scanning what do you call that? Investopedia. Every day they send me a new term, and the 50% rule is one that came up for me like a few months back. And yeah, I start looking at the 7 top. I'm watching you. Clear you to recommend window. 0 because you asked. I'm offended. Yeah. What am I doing? Overall market, 7 controversial theory. 50% rule. Yeah, that's a real thing. And so is the greater fool theory. There's always someone out there that's willing to buy something. Like golden toilets. All right, now went to 560. Okay, I was a little bit off, but now it's starting its grind. BIR. Part of me wants to just leave this this BWEN to its own thing, and then use the rest of the 5K buying power I have to buy the dip on BIOR, because this is definitely gonna fly. But the only problem with that is day trades. I'd rather just focus on one. Stay committed to one. Because if there's a bounce short in the last like 2 days, like of the week, I want to hammer that, like, especially if it's a quality one. I wonder what it would be on. Because we've seen so many things gap up with a lot of volume. Probably PG. Oh, well, now I think about it. If it's a gap up short, it'll probably be some type of micro float. Micro float biotech, because that's the only thing that's been running for the most part. We did have one clean gap up short in the middle of December. So I hope it's that rather than some other bio. But man, I'm just so tired of trading all these biotech. That's all I yelled last year, in the beginning of the last year too, was biotech, this, biotech, that. But now that's the only thing we get in the last like 3 months. And then none of them were ideal. That was the main reason. I'm like, man. What do you think about the consolidated resistance at 3.8 for BWEN? Consolidated resistance. Oh, you're talking about this pre-market resistance? Well, in general, intraday resistance and pre-market resistance and aftermarket resistance, they're all rated differently. I've been told by Steven never to trust it. Like, trust it enough to just use that as a single reliable factor. So I say it has enough to have an influence, but not enough to just short because of it. So like a pre-market high, yeah, that's definitely good, but I'd put a historic resistance over it. Like a whole day that gives you like an individual resistance and a consolidation, I'd put that over it. Bad news that comes out, I put that over it. A rejection candle right at the open, I put that over it. A double top like intraday, I put that over it if it happened in like the pre-market. Like, main thing is liquidity is really low during pre-market and aftermarket, so you can't use it a lot. What, if anything, I just consider it like a psychological resistance more than an actual here's where bag holders are, because a lot of those people that trade in the pre-market, they're just itching to get out during the first 5 minutes, and like that's what all that volatility is, people coming in, people getting out, because they've been in there since like 4 a.m. and stuff like that. So again, I just consider it like a psychological risk management area. So this consolidation doesn't mean much to me, but this is probably a place that early shorts are going to get squeezed from because they went in there. So I still think this is going to, like, what did I say, 460? My only thing right now is I don't know if this is cash only, because I started the day with 4.1K in the equity, which gave me 8.2 in buying power. I put in 3K, but now it says my buying power is 5, which means, you know, I am using margin, but I still don't trust it. Like TZ and like, you know, myself, we're always shooting me in the foot. So like part of me wants to just keep borrowing. I'm just like, I need more. But I'd rather, like, usually when a stock is at 1 cent for the borrow price, it stays like that through most of the day. Max, it goes up to like 3 cents. So I just know if I do borrow more right now, there's a higher chance that I'll add on a lower average. Here we go. Here's the squeeze I'm looking for. Now, when that unhalts, first is going to go to like 430. And then, oh, it already went. Are you done yet? No, you're not. Okay, there's the 460. Okay, now I kind of have to borrow. Now, yeah, that's 20%. Fine. Yeah, 60 cents. Where am I? 380. What does that say? Right, that's down 20% already. Now, all those people, they're messed up. That just went down there with full size. BIOR people who are you looking to sell into the morning push are panicking. Yep. See, that's the thing. A lot of the biotechs and microfloats, they've trained you to be impatient. And the ones that won yesterday, the only reason they won is because of the higher market cap. Now, if you do that on, you know, LIPO, I didn't expect it as much on BWEN. Or like, I did, but didn't at the same time. Like it's kind of weird because like main thing is everybody's trying to steal each other's volume right now. So that should give it a little bit more of a less chance of happening. But right at the beginning, you saw that BWEN separated from the rest of the. I still think I went in too much. I should have went in a fourth. That was my greed going in that half. But I'm okay with that because I didn't put in my full size. Like I didn't even borrow my full size because it wasn't worth it. But now after this spike. Now I can borrow more, wait for a crack, and then I can easily average up to about like 430, which is still within like reason. Because like after this unholds, max I seen it going is like 480. If it does go above that point, that's where I'd rather just take the loss, like the little loss that I'll have. Well, so this is at like 600 right now, which is at least twice what I normally would want for my my daily loss. Like my daily loss would be what's 5% of the account? I think it's like 270. So cat. We talked about 1, wipe your butt. 2, are you on the desk? BIOR has breakout chart daily. All right, go that way. Yeah. Oh, BIOR. What? Okay, there. I was like, I just saw a 383.7 as like a top. Were people really trying to use this 1 million resistance like as a solid thing? Because I was trying to use it as a consistent thing. Consistent. There's a difference. I expect the gap through. I just don't expect it to be strong. Like if this goes to 520, that's where I'm just like, whoa. Like I really should have went smaller on this. But, we're at 103 in terms of percentage right now. Most people were shorting around like 80%. So if this goes up about like 110, 115, to calculate. It's 5. Oh, okay, fine. Are you okay? I was about to say. For it. Oh, that's SpongeBob. Oh, that. Careful, SpongeBob. Still got 700 more. There we go. What? Do not have enough buying power. Oh, I just borrowed an extra 200 for nothing. I understand. I'm not going to take it personal. What? I have 800. So I can put 100 in. There we go. I should be able to afford that. 100 times. Oh, never mind. That's $400. I don't have that. Wait, I could put in like 50. Yeah. So with this, my average now is 423. In terms of risk on this, I'm risking the high day. If it breaks that 480, I'll take off half. Just such a weird number. I have 1900 in there. So I take off 900. It breaks high. But now I break even on this when I go to 420. Of course, that's the chill. Now remember, this still has really cheap R. So we need to see a crack before about 10:05. If we don't see one that goes below 420, it's not looking good. The longer this consolidates, the better we can expect. But it can't go higher than 480. If it does, it's probably going 540. And I'm gonna definitely get out before that. Because what happens is the people that just panic, those are the same people that just probably went in or averaged up like I just did. And when they panic again, not gonna be pretty. Needs to go down. Okay. This is looking not yet. Oh, here we go. Not very convincing though. Like it's going lower, but that one to touch the 33, it's supposed to crack 30 when it does that kind of dip. And now you have a higher low. It's getting strength. But it's okay. Again, like as long as we stay within like 20 cents consolidation, we're good all the way up to about like 10:05. After that point, like cause after 10 o'clock, people they change. They become vampires. Cats, werewolf, morning, werewolf. Use two different strategies in one ticker. There's a lot of like pieces of strategies that I use in each strategy. That's one of the Duxinator, not mottos, but one of the things they say to do in the Duxinator. It's take pieces, the details of each one of the technique, and then you put that in the frame of the pattern, and it increases your odds by like 10, 15% on each criteria that you're meeting. But before any of that, you have to meet the basic criteria. And with DWEN, this one, it was a very sloppy gap up short, but it's still a gap up short. Versus something like what was the one that had the reverse split? BIOR, which is a fresh chart because it's a reverse split. Yeah. But my only problem with these kind of plays is this is your textbook left shoulder of a head and shoulders play. And so if we don't get that decent crack right now, it's not going to be pretty. So like literally my ultimatum should be within the next 5 minutes. And I kind of want to size down now because it's definitely looking strong. All right. I keep seeing these flashes of 30s, but like unless it actually cracks 30, all these what do you call those? Yeah, I still want to size down a bit. all these did I short? Yeah, I shorted. All these fake breakdowns or breakdowns that are being saved, or it looks like the levels being held, the bid, like the line. They're adding layers of support slash they're giving confidence to the long over the shorts. And the more confidence that the longs have, the more they're just gonna get arrogant and just like pop this up. So like unless it's making lower lows, they're getting more confident. And it's not making lower lows. The lowest low we saw was 3.3. Right now. Okay, now we're okay. Yeah, now I can look away. What? Yeah, I'm looking. What am I doing again? Did you use two different strategies like gap up short and a potential fader? So when I think of a potential fader, I think of a 20% pull. And it has to be really fast because it's pretty much a smaller death candle that I showed earlier, which was actually I think the picture might still be there. Like this. Like when you have these kind of moves, then everybody's just losing their stuff. This is like a death candle. But when you have like a smaller one, like 20%, whether it's at the end of the day or the beginning of the day, where like a lot of the volume's trapped, then you have those faders, whether it happens in the end of the market or whether it happens in like the beginning. Yeah. But I'm just happy it cracked that 430. Now since it did a decent crack, we'll probably do some retests within like mid 40s and then bleed for a bit. Now the next part is getting past the rush hour up to like 1040. It's actually like 1030, but 1040 just because any of these tickers that are going to die, like BIOR and LIPO, if one of them just tanked right now for whatever reason, like news came out, etc., all those people are going to get mad and they're going to find something to revenge trade. And what they're going to come to is your ticker, a ticker near you. And that's never fun. All right, cat. So I got the cat addicted to TV. And so he's just like, man, you don't know how long I've been waiting all night. I couldn't sleep. He's like, put on the lizard, man. No, put on the snake. I didn't like his eyes last time. But his favorite is the mouse TV. I feel like I almost just put hair in my water. Is there an approximate release in February for a new course? The new course is the Duxinator's no. It's what is it called? Trader's Edge. So when you go to our website, it says courses. Each of the DVDs, the Freedom Challenge, are courses. Because each of them give lessons in themselves. Like you get the basic 8 patterns from the trading techniques. You get the sequel and the updates on those patterns and their statistics and stuff for the next DVD, which is the Duxinator. Trader's Edge, it has a completely new style, and it's Steven going in depth on statistics, new patterns, and going over briefly on the old pattern in a much clearer, less, well, there's still Chinglish in it, but the depth that he goes in makes everything else look obsolete. Like to me, it looks a little unfair to the Freedom Challenge members because it looks like he's like gifting the Freedom Challenge all wrapped in like a DVD. Like when I go through just the slideshow, before he even explains it, I'm already just like, if I had this when I first started, I'd be a god. Like it makes me feel so conflicted. Like part of me is like really happy that I have it now, but because like there's always that like little question on each pattern that like either it was a little vague or it wasn't like obvious what to do. All that's in the trader's edge. And so I'm just like, once one of my fears is once people buy the trader's edge, they're not going to watch the other material because it's that much of a difference in terms of like how much in depth he goes. I still haven't watched him explaining the DVD because it's like 8 hours long or something, and he still needs to do like a few more in China. Yeah, but like what I've seen so far, it's quality. It definitely gives you like confidence. It clears up a lot of misunderstanding, and I feel personally attacked in half of it. And yeah, that's my opinion of it. But that's the new course. Um, what percentage are you risking on this pattern? So every time I go in, I'm trying to only risk 5% of my account. With a gap up short in general, I'm trying to risk 7 to 10% each time. And usually I try to split that into 2 tries. So right now I'm sitting at negative 4% because I'm at 420. But don't tell whoever's manipulating this, that they'll get me. But again, I'm still waiting for a solid crack. I do like that it came down to 430. And the only reason I say that is because those shorts that just came in, like the fresh shorts, yeah, I'll stop there. I'm not supposed to give everything. But the main thing is before you get into a trade, you know what you want to risk. I just go in with my max loss, and I only want to accept the loss once it's a clean break of my risk. And so when I say I'm going in risking like 7%, you might see me get out at like 10 because I'm doing a clean break of the 7 to 10% for that position. But if it ever hits 5% of my max in my account, I'm just going to cut it because it's not worth making that bad habit of taking those kind of losses in the long run. So in the last trade, that saved me from losing like 15% on the long I was doing. And that long, like I'm trying to do more longs because I spent most of last year just not touching long just because I wanted to focus on the short game. But I missed out on several times where, I would call a good long, and I went back to my first year, and the longs were actually where most of my money was. It was those biotechs that I was doing in like October. And, the rest was like options and longs on those. But what was it talking about? Oh yeah, this is about risk. Yeah. So I have rules. Like one of my rules is my max loss is not going to be a specific cash number anymore. I'm only doing percentage. And I'm following Ben's advice. Some of the stuff I've mentioned, it comes from the new DVD. There we go. And it's rules for people with specific size bank accounts. And you don't graduate from those rules until you pretty much perfect the minimum ability to go to like a 50K account. So I didn't like how fast that went to like 420 and came back up. I knew something was going to happen, but it looks like some people just came in again at 460 on that candle. Like, you see how big that candle is? That was 1 million in a 1 minute candle. So went down and it went up. I'm trying to figure out which side was that on. Yeah. Yeah, but this is right at my average, by the way. So if I do feel uncomfortable, technically I'm supposed to like take off right now. But another part of me is just like, I want to get used to letting my winners run and like add to my winners and stuff like that. Because that was my problem my second year, or like now. I would win and I could win consistently, but those wins I would make, it'd be like 7%, 15%. I'm leaving so many profits on the table. Yeah. Hope the new course is great. I'm also saving the month of Stockcraft for when I finish the course. Wait. Thanks for the support. Speaking of revenge trading, that's totally not what I'm doing right now. I saw AVGN the other day. I thought about it. Like, I'm kind of glad I didn't have buying power that day. Because me and AVGN, we had some history. We got to talk. Last time I saw him, he took 18K from me. Now I could have got it back. But after I took the 18K loss, that was like a forced cover from TZ. I couldn't get back in because of I forgot what the rule is called. I think I wrote it down. I hope I wrote it. I think it was like a not margin call. It was some type of, you can't trade anymore because APDN. Okay, so it wasn't even the right ticker. I was taking out on the wrong guy. I'm just checking to see if I wrote down in my notes what kind of rule that was. Okay, didn't look like it. Oh. Yeah, but here's the day. Like, on this day, I lost 18K, and I timed the next crack because it was like right where an offering was happening, and that's why everybody was shorting it in the first place. We we're all trying to time this offering, and then when the offering did happen, I'm like, oh, let me get in there. But since I just got forced covered by the broker, I couldn't get back in, and they gave me like a certain rule why I couldn't get back in. So, but I don't remember if that happened till like later in the day, or if it was like during that time. So that's why I'm kind of confused. This is why you have to write a journal down, because you're going to remember things towards your bias. So this one just went to 410, which is another, good number to have. Now it just needs to stay under 435. Should be good for the day. We got a solid crack. Those people that got in at the top that's where they're covering is around like 410. 420 area is always a good cover point in the next whole dollar. So some people are like, since it started at 480, they're going to be aiming for like 380 as a cover. But the people that are a little more patient, they're probably going to be aiming for like 340. The people that can hold this the whole day, they're going to be aiming at like anything from like 320 all the way to like 290. But it depends on the setup there. If it was a bounce short, I definitely get that far. But with this gap up short, that's not even a quality gap up short. I only want, I think, like 20% top, pretty, which should be about 50%. So yeah, 3. Now let's check see if that's 50%. Let me stay away from the button. Which one is this? BWR. I can touch B. Got like $1 in. Two. First, let's figure out the actual. So it's up 109%. Good. 209 times 5 multiplied by close 350. So just to be safe, actually aim for like 360. But if you want to be greedy and you think it's possible, if they had like a really heavy day, which this being a $3 to $4 stock, having 30 million volume is considered crowded, and having that before 1030, that's considered in your favor. Like that kind of crack, all those people trapped, now they're trapped with you, and stuff like that. So getting to about 340 is reasonable, but being able to like hold to that point, it depends on where you are. So me at 420, that's considered a barely passable entry, and that's just because I averaged up from before. If I did my original plan where I put in a fourth, then wait for that, that's where I'd get my average closer to like 450, for upper 30, where I was planning. But now, just to be safe, I think I'm gonna aim for about 370, because at that point, the second entry on this gap up short, where it bounces right back up to low 4, that's where I'd rather clear up my day and just get me like a 10% win at that point. How do I say that? So I'm at 420 right. 423. Will only be 11%. Like I want, when I win, I want to minimum get 15%, and it is possible. But I think to be able to get that, I might have to wait the entire day, and I don't want to watch that. I'd rather work on some other things. I'll let it ride. Because another thing is, remember how I said in the later half, like second half, that BIOR might grind all the way up to 10? If I just take a small win on BWEN, like once this gets to like 380 and I get 10% up, because I'm only 2% up right now, I may be able to take my long on BIOR, which I may even be able to hold overnight and then keep a day trade. And like if I want to go long on this, I have to go in now, because like when this gets to about like 8, 9, it won't be worth it, because some people are gonna start shorting up in that area. But the main thing is we have to finish the trade. And I'm at least getting 10% no matter what, because I had to borrow for them, even if it was really cheap. How much did I borrow? So, oh, $19. That's not bad. Yeah, getting that back. I got that back already. Yeah. Yeah, I'm up already 200. And that's just 2%. I forgot I'm in leverage. So it's only 2. So fine. Because the main thing is I am trying to, like, one of my skills I'm trying to not perfect, but get better at this year is letting my winners run. But I don't want to just start holding everything to the end of the day just because I can, because it can easily come back, like on certain plays. It's just, remember, this gap up short is not the best. So when this goes back down, it might not even be till like 1 o'clock until I can get that 360 that I'm looking, 367. Yeah. So, all right, guys, it's way past normal time. I'm going to head out. Covered after the squeeze, went shorted, then shorted a little later, but confidence is gone. So I cut loss soon. It went up a little. Now looking at PWEN, looks like that could be the day high. $20, $30. Yeah. Yeah, this was one of those. There's the push. Now, always throw a little change on. Let's flip it. Point. Or all right, guys. But I'm gonna head out. Make sure you stay safe. Have a risk, and catch you guys later. Still here.